What's up, everyone? It is me, Cicely Renee, and we're back with Setting the Scene Sunday. And we're super excited to have you join us this Sunday to start setting goals and just get our week set for the week, make it excellent, make it powerful, make it intentional. And I'm super excited you are here. We have some people joining us. So we're going to let them come in a little bit and I'm going to explain how this works. So if you are catching the replay, how this works is that we have a live Zoom meeting where we're talking about goal setting. We're going to talk about, things that we've like wins or epiphanies and all of that. And so you are free to chat in the chat box. You can come off mute. You can have your video on, you can have your video off. Just know that it will be on Zoom and in audio as well. So it is engaging, it's interactive, and I hope you guys participate with me. And so if you follow on the blog, you'll see, a link or the blog, and you'll get an email saying, go ahead, RSVP. Join us next Sunday if you want to be a part of the communication, the live communication and collaboration. And so we can do introductions. So let's see. So I am Cicely Renee, and I'm also known as the Bougie Black Blogger, and we have a few people live with me. And so if you want to introduce yourself, just put it in the chat box and then I'll let you come off of mute. But a little about me. So I'm an educator, right? And I know the power of planning. And this past year I planned, but was not, consistent with it. I didn't do it to fidelity. And now I've done a whole year of running a bookstore. And now I feel like, I can focus on some other things, but I want to make sure that my time is, intentional. It has a purpose. There is a plan. And so I'm super excited about this podcast. I'm excited about collaboration and accountability. And so make sure you guys grab your journals, grab a pen, get something to drink, and we're gonna set the scene. So for introductions, I'm gonna let people say their first name, city, and a win that you had this week. And you can come off of mute as well. So we'll start with Shayla.
Hi, so my name is Shayla. I run a business called Shay Design Studio. And a win for me, I'm from Des Moines, Iowa. And a win for me this week was, I had a vendor show the other day and it was a pretty decent turnout. I was able to connect and network with people. And that's always a plus for me. So I would say that was a win for me this week.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, welcome, Shayla. I'm super excited that you're here. Does anybody else want to introduce themselves? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a not right now. That's okay. All right, so if you are listening on Zoom or YouTube, put where you're from, where your name, and a win for you as well, okay? All right. So one of the things that I want to implement is just, reflection. Reflection is huge because it helps you, keep things into perspective. And just kind of okay, it's a growth tool, right? You look back, reflect, and figure out what the next steps are, right? And so these three things, they're either like epiphanies, wins, challenges, people, events, whatever it may be, and you will expound on it and talk about it. So I'm going to first start off with my three things, and I lost my notes, but it's all good. And so we still have more people joining us, and that is cool. So my first thing is exposure. And so when I think about this term exposure, I think about being put in situations or seeing or reading or just something affecting your world, your mind, your process, your thoughts, whatever it may be. It is helpful, it is beneficial, but it also can be bad as well. So exposure can be good, it can be bad. And whatever it is going to have an impact on your character. And so thinking about what you expose yourself to. So like I literally was watching, or not watching, I'm studying Salvador Dali right now, an artist, and I didn't realize how crazy he was. But it reminds me that a lot of geniuses are crazy, and so that exposure led me down this like rabbit hole of just things, and I learned so much about him, and just think kind of like comparing my life where like, okay, what should I do based off of this? But then I'm like, I may not need that type of exposure, and I may not need to go down that line of, what he was doing, just because I'm an artist as well. And so just being aware of what you're exposing yourself to can really help or hurt. Okay. The second thing is revival. And so I spent last week in revival mode. This time last week, I did the setting the scene Sunday, and I was like, you know what? I'm in revival mode. I need to revive some things that, I put to the wayside, like on the back burner, which was like my blog and, podcasting and connecting with people outside the bookstore. And so that was something that I did. And so I painted 3 paintings. I blogged. I was doing things that made my heart happy. And I was all about that. That made me super excited. And the last third thing is the hard conversation. So, like, I don't know. I grew up in a home where we did not have conflict, which meant I was not really talking about my feelings, especially the bad feelings, right? And so I struggled with communication to this day. And so this past week, I've had a few hard conversations with some people, and I was on the like, I thought I could just say my piece and it'd be done, but it really was not done because they had they deserved an opportunity to share what they have in response to what I'm saying. So hearing that was the hard. Well, even saying my feelings was super hard. And then listening to what they had to say, being open to that, that was a struggle, but it just helps you build character as well. And so this is going to help me like for future, conversations with people, whether it be connections and collaborations, partnerships, my spouse or whatever, my kids, anybody. So making sure that you're practicing things and really just pushing yourself to get out of that comfort zone, and that's where that growth happens. And so we have 3 things. So those are the epiphanies, wins, challenges, people, whatever it may be. If you have 3 things that you want to share that has happened this past week, you can either come off of mute, and then or you can put it in the chat, but make sure you introduce yourself. And so I'm going to give the floor to you all. And you don't have to, you can just sit and listen as well. Any takers? All right, Valerie, go ahead. Welcome. Go ahead.
Welcome.
Yes.
It takes me a minute to get to the chat on my little phone right here, so it took me a minute. Sorry.
No.
Yeah. So 3 things that I've been working on this past week is just allowing myself the time or carving out time for myself and for my side business or for my things that I love to do, which is like researching. I would like to do more like cricket type work, and I just wanted to like research and see what else was out there, research Etsy so I could like market my products a little bit more, and so that I could also planning I was doing this week. And so planning goals, planning where I want to be in the next couple of months, and like what I want to work on. And I guess the challenge is just making that time to sit down and do those things, because usually when I find time to, that I'm not busy cleaning or working or whatever, I'm watching TV. So I'm trying to like stop watching so much TV or watch just a little bit, but then spend more time reflecting on me and where I want to go. That's all.
Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. And what city are you calling in from?
Mexico. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
you
No,
were
I am from Maryland, the DMV area.
awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. I definitely understand that time. I know, like, for TV, like, I don't turn on my TV until I'm in bed. And then I fall asleep within like 5 minutes. So I'm like, but that's been my thing. Anybody else want to share?
Hi, this is Felicia.
Hey, Felicia, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Sorry, I'm a little bit tardy, but this is one of the things that I want to, I guess, um, one of the challenges is finding time and making time for things that I enjoy doing. So this is something that I want to get back to, is plugged in and interacting with other creative people. I'm in a transition as my daughter prepare for college, so I need to get a life, if you will. And so I am working on that and getting a life. So yesterday, there was a meeting that I was to attend, and I had to step back and not attend that. I want to spend as much time with her as I can, and then pour into myself for a moment. And so that's some of the hard things. People were looking for me, not that I went ghost or anything, but I'm always present. And so I had to step back and not be present for a moment. And it felt really good. And while I wasn't there, people caught me up on what was happening. And so I felt like I was there. So that's some of my exposure and some hard conversations with myself about putting myself a little bit ahead of what I usually do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right, I love it. Oh, your daughter is going off to college. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What city are you calling from?
I'm in Garland,
Okay, awesome. Texas.
right up the street. Yeah, neighbor.
Hey, neighbor.
Hey, neighbor.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share, or we just gonna move on? And it's all good if you don't want to share. I'm super excited about this. So I started this setting the scene Sunday last week, and like, cause I wanted to build that community, goal setting, accountability, and so the first day, no one showed up, which is fine. And so I just talked, and now having other voices will help, like, build engagement. Like, it just seems, be able to bounce ideas off of each other. And so those who are catching like the replay, they can put stuff in the chat if they want to. And then, yeah, the plan is to do this every Sunday, think about our life, goal set, and all of that. All right, excuse me. All right. So I'm gonna focus on a tip. This is for me though. Like, y'all, if you have better tips, let me know. But I have been struggling with staying on key. Like, my brain, so I have like ADHD, right? Undiagnosed, but I know I do. And so, like, there is a lot happening in my head, and it's so hard to like just focus on just everything. Like, so there's things that I can really hyper focus on. That's the stuff that I love to do. Like, I can sit up and write an ebook in like 6 hours and have a whole session, like a whole class, all of that. I can do that. But if I have to do the nitty gritty stuff behind the bookstore, like, I don't want to do it. I don't even want to focus on it. That's not my thing. And so, but I have to, because that's all about, that's all about being a full-time entrepreneur and what you need to do. You got to do the not so fun stuff and the fun stuff at the same time. So one of the things that I'm going to implement, I'm not going to say try, I'm going to implement, is phone reminders. So I'm going to start doing like task lists, and I'm thinking like adding it at nighttime, just saying what I need to do, set it up. And then the next day I'll be good to go. Like, and I'm like, okay, this is what I got to focus on. But I guess my brain, what happens is I have so much accessibility to me. So people are either calling, texting, emailing, DMing me, just all over the place. So then it messes like with my flow. They come to the bookstore, which is what I want them to do. But then it also messes up my flow if I'm focused on something. So I'm hoping that these phone reminders will help me to kind of like be intentional with my time and also stay off of like Uno and games and focus. It is so hard, y'all. It is so hard. But anyways, what are some tips that you guys have? And then also we can start thinking about goals for the week. What do you guys got planned? What are you working on? And anybody can start, and nobody, y'all don't have to. I'm open to talking all night too. No.
This is Valerie. I could start.
Okay.
What I've used now is I write down everything. So I've found that I have a whiteboard and I wrote down like what I want to do for my, side business. So I write down everything that I want. And then what is helpful is by adding a date that you want that done by, so that you know that you can like have something to look forward to and then hopefully reach that date. I also got a notebook, and so now I write my dates in that notebook, but then goal setting on your phone, setting reminders, but also using the calendar to set up that reminder would be beneficial, and it's beneficial for me too. And what I have goals this week?
Yeah.
Is that what you want to talk about? It's just, making time to like one day a week to sit down and carve time just for me and my business and doing the planning that I need to do. Because I'm trying to brand myself. And so thinking of what that would look like, I need to just sit down and put pen to paper, and just write down what I need to do to get that done. That's what I'm going to do this week.
Yes. I love, pencil to paper too. But I also have like 30 journals and notebooks. And so then I'm like, what notebook did I put stuff
in? Yeah, just one.
Goodness. All right. Well, thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
I would say ditto to what both of you guys have said. And another thing I try to do is come off of the electronics or kind of set some boundaries so that not respond to every text or email, give myself a period to where my time, I respond at a certain time, depending on who it's from and how urgent that it is. So I try not to respond to every little thing and run down all the little rabbit trails, because other people can eat up your time and then I'm left not doing what I'm supposed to do that's on my list in my journal and my phone.
Right. Oh, that's so real. And I think I'm gonna do the same thing. And so I remember putting my phone, on the charger and then working on the computer, and that was so productive. And I was just like, I need to keep the phone away. Keep the phone away. Yeah, that's so good. I like that. All right.
Cicely, there was this. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I thought somebody else was going to say something. But one of the things I had found was this thing called Notions. And it's sort of like a database, but you have to build your thing in it. And so one of the things I wanted to build in it is a calendar or a task manager type of thing, where I could actually say, this is what I'm going to work on, the actual task, and then sign a date that I want to do by, the date that I'm supposed to start, and then kind of set up a reminder. So then it would automatically like pop up on my iPad or my iPhone saying, oh, you're supposed to have these done, or you're supposed to start this. But that's another thing that you have to start to build it, then use it. And I've kind of started it and I just find it hard to get back to it. But I found like some kind of electronic thing that will like just pop up and say, hey, get going.
Yes.
But that's all I had to say.
Is that an app?
It is an app. Notions. I like it, and it takes a minute to kind of learn how to set up your different templates and your own design, but you can download some templates from other users off of like YouTube and stuff to kind of get started.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm gonna check that out. Notions in app. All right, all right. Okay, we're gonna move on to the word of the, well, I'm gonna say the week, but the day. So balance has been something I've been practicing, and I feel like balancing is not a one day goal and you fix it's done, but it's just a lifestyle trying to create balance. But I've been more like intentionally focusing on this for the past like 4 years as a teacher, because I was like taking, as a teacher, you work 24/7, it seems like. And so I would be at the school all day, go home, grading papers, doing all that all night, just exhausted, sleeping during the weekend because I can't do anything because I'm so tired from the week. And I learned that, the work is still going to be there the next day. And so making sure, one of the things that I did as a teacher, I would do the work at work and not take anything home. Like I was like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not focusing on grading papers, whatever needs to be done, we're gonna do it in the daytime at work, and the nighttime is for me. And so that is something I'm still working on, and I'm actually yeah, trying to figure out balance between me, all my passions, and which includes the bookstore, but the bookstore is kind of like is a job because I have to be there 7 days a week and do the nitty gritty type stuff, and and then sometimes I get home and I'm super exhausted, but because I'm in like revival mode, I'm like going back to what I love to do, and then just working on creating that balance, which includes making sure I do my tasks that I need to do for the bookstore so I can do what I want to do outside of that, right? And so with this word balance, how have you guys like implemented this in your lifestyle, or do you need to improve this term? What struggles do you have? And if you're on the replay, just go ahead and type that in the comments section. How does this work in your life? Or how do you want it to work in your life?
I'll start. So, coming off of COVID and still primarily teleworking from home or working from home, basically, for the last 3 years, it's been a little bit difficult finding that balance of, once I go into the office and I'm working, I just tend to like just keep working because I don't have to travel, and I don't have to commute. And, sometimes I'm like, "Damn, I didn't even eat lunch today, because I'm just like so focused, especially when I, have like a deadline for work. And then working past, cut off times and come out the office and it's dark outside. So it's just trying to find balance within work with being at home, still like going by a clock. And that's kind of been a challenge over like it did, well, the whole time. But that's what I'm currently working on now, is just having a little bit of a balance, try to be work wholeheartedly while I'm at work. And then as soon as my clock or time is ready to get off, that I come out of the office, shut the door, and go do something else. And so what I did I think about like earlier this year, I was doing everything in my office. I was doing my side business in my office. I was working in my office, my granddaughter's in the office. And so I divided it. I took everything else out of my office except for work in the office. And I moved my side business into a different room. And I moved my granddaughter into a different room. So that kind of would help with balance, so once I left that room, I'm done with work and I go to another spot, and then this is where I'm going to be focusing next on. So that's what I'm doing.
I like that. That's really good. Yeah, compartmentalizing or whatever that term is. And is that the word? I'm trying to shifting things.
Yeah, compartment.
Yeah.
That word. Just having a specific section for each thing. So like, you get a break from compartmentalize. That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Good. All right. Anybody else? And that's okay.
Ditto.
Okay, beautiful. Yes, I love that. And that shift, that mental clarity, all of that helps. And so having a clean home, which is something I need to work on, will help me balance as well.
I think before it got to be over 100 degrees, for me, having some balance is walking, and it clears my head and my mind. And that's the time that part of the time I get to spend with God and talking with Him and just getting some clarity. And so it's not the same for me working out in the house or in the garage. It's like I need to get out and walk. So I miss that, and I feel a little bit out of balance. I still, have my moments with God, my morning time, prayer and devotion. But walking is something that helps me stay in balance.
All right, I love that. And I know this heat is excessive here. And I'm like, this is my, I think, sixth, maybe my sixth summer here. And I feel like this has been the hottest.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's, yeah.
So we can thank you for the heat. Is that
Yes, probably. Brought it from Minnesota because, left the cold in Minnesota. I love it. All right, and here's a quote about balance. So self-care is fundamentally about bringing balance back to a life that has grown imbalance from too many commitments or responsibilities. And that is by Robin L. Gaubin of the Self-Care Prescription. And so this was like spoke volumes to me because I know I am overly committed. I do too many things. I say yes to so many things that I shouldn't say yes to. And that is another life goal of mine, is to say no more often and just, keep things at bay, like things I don't need to participate in. But yes, I love this quote. And so we just self-care, taking care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you ain't gonna be able to help other people. So yes. All right. All right, all right. So we're gonna close out for setting the scene, but before we close, I'm gonna talk a little bit about some things. So there is this pastor that I follow. His name is Pastor Teray Roberts, and he actually has a book called Balance. And no, this is not an ad. He did not pay me to say this. I'm just reading it, but I'm about to be reading that this week, and he's talking about balance in every area of life. And so I'm excited to dive into that. I'm also starting some micro webinars. And so I have one called Pivot, and that was inspired by last week's my if I can speak, setting the scene Sunday. And so it's a video, but it also has a 24-page e-workbook. And then you guys can access that, and I can give y'all a 50% off discount, to the listeners. And so that discount code is SET Sunday, SETSUNDAY, and that is 50% off. And the cool part, that same code will be 50% off forever for every new webinar, e-workbook, course, whatever it is. You get that 50% off. And so I really hope that, this episode or this Setting the Scene Sunday was helpful to get thoughts out and talk with each other and process things. And I hope that you guys come back next Sunday and bring a friend. And so all the information will be right here or in the chat box. And so I'm super excited that you guys are here. You guys came out. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have any closing words, any final words?
I do not, but it was great. Thank you. I mean, it makes, me feel not alone. Like, I know this is something that we all kind of just struggle with, and just sitting down and doing the thing, it's kind of like helpful to have this to kind of make us also accountable. So you could figure out, did you follow your goals this week? But nice to talk about it and get it out there. But thank you. It was very helpful. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, this was good. I enjoyed it. It's nice to be with like-minded people as we, travel this journey.
Yes, I appreciate it. I'm so glad y'all are here. And hopefully I'll see you next week. And there'll be a new topic, a new theme. Think of your 3 things and your goals and staying accountable and, checking in with other people and just, yeah. All right. All right. I'm going to stop recording.